All right, we're live today with the Sometimes Saturday podcast, episode 3. Today, I think we're going to talk mostly about some big 3D printers, Google's quantum computing, and cars. Tesla's got some new specs on their Roadster. There's a new battery that claims to go 1,500 miles, and we might have some lists of cars to buy if you're in the market.
We didn't get like a new Florida topic yet, huh? Just
No,
while we're talking about
that's
topics.
for
Okay,
you.
I just want to make. Okay, I gotta do my homework.
You
We'll have
are,
one next week.
you are Dave, who's new to the podcast. This is episode 3. It's going to be kind of a shorter one, but we're introducing a new special guest today, Mr. David.
Hello.
Let's get started with the 3D printer. Do we want to talk about the houses or the boat?
Let's go with the boat, I guess. Since I haven't seen an actual 3D printed house maker as far as like the brackets and stuff, like the machine itself. But I saw that boat one, and that was nuts.
Okay.
So if you have this, yeah, this is the right one. Okay. Yeah, printing a boat. It's printing a boat out of complete nothingness is. It's mind blowing, actually. Watching it in full time, completely start to.
Yeah, the time lapse of it is wild.
So I didn't get too deep into it, but what is it using? Is that like a plastic? Is it metal? Is it like
it's a
human
polymer.
It's polymer.
So let's see if they go into more details on it. But
yeah, it's a
they
polymer.
just say polymer.
Generic word for stuff.
It's got to be some type of plastic.
Oh yeah, 3D boat. See, but the ramifications for building a 3D house is probably the readily customizing a house for the customer in real time. You can do it off a digital file.
For the house, it's cost.
Yeah. Because, customization costs so much money. So if you can build it out of a single substrate and have it customized beforehand and then just hit play, I think that's huge.
Well, does it on the 3D house? Does it print room by room?
It prints the whole house based on the base. I think the one video I've seen is.
How big are they?
Actually, I have it.
Yeah, I mean, like the boat, I can understand because that's within, say, like 300 feet by, I don't know, maybe 50 feet tall at best.
Yeah, I'm watching the video. It looks like they're 3D printing like blocks to build the house out of. Nothing. They're not building the whole house, but you're 3D printing like bricks.
Well, here, let me send this. 3D printed. Let me send this link to you both. And
geopolymer concrete is what it's made out of.
Whoa.
There's this one that's like printing mortar on like a steel frame. Let me send it to you, boys.
So, like, thinking about this, though, just in general, from a military perspective, I bet later on down the road, they'll be able to, like, print tanks, like, on command, on the spot, ready for war within, like, minutes.
Well, even more, you could print military. You could print tents, little housing units for the military.
Yeah.
Keep people alive. Just straight to war. I was an immediate war engine.
Yeah.
Blow some shit up. Yeah.
See, so look at right here. It looks like
war,
it's printing. Oh no, it's printing the whole wall. Look at that.
Yeah, it prints the whole layer by layer, one layer at a time.
And you just keep feeding it polymer the whole entire time.
Yeah. This looks like a mortar or like fucking.
Wow, it says less than 24 hours.
Concrete.
At a cost of only $4,000. You're talking about like ramifications of fixing like homeless people worldwide for next to nothing.
Yeah, this is
the cops.
A project that they're doing in the third world, I think.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Like Africa, instead of shanties, they're gonna do like 3D printed houses.
Mortar printed.
So they spent the Albuquerque Party Patrol is a $289,000 investment for cops to work overtime and look for parties to give to break up minors in possession of alcohol. But like $289,000. I don't know the math off my head, but divide that by 4,000. I mean, that's a lot of houses. And you could fill up like enough places to build 3D printed houses. The majority.
You know what? This would have actually probably fixed the Fire Festival problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely could have
Now
fixed
that I think about it.
So what's the cost on this 3D printed house? What is it? 350 square feet, I think they said.
$4,000.
So if you
Under
extrapolate
4,000.
that, a family home is 1,200 square feet, and then, so I mean that's, geez, that's $15,000 for a house.
Full
house.
Yeah,
that's
that's
what the longevity of it is, though.
Right?
That's the article too that we have.
650 feet in this.
I think it's the Fox News article. Yeah. They talk about this other Texas company. I think it's, what was it, Sunco or something like that. Sunconomy. They plan on doing like much more elaborate houses, like 2-story with like a roof that you can party on or whatever. I mean, the houses look pretty like modern, legit.
Yeah, I mean, it's modest.
Yeah, it's a modest little thing.
Yeah, you just build it, live in it for a couple of months, and then leave. I mean, even for it's like a cost of a car.
Oh, wow.
You pay that off in 72 months, and then leave it. Move on to something else.
Well, they have a project milestone at the 3dprintedhouse.com and talking about what is Project Milestone. They're building some elaborate 3D houses. Project Milestone can rightly be seen as a milestone for many reasons, not only when it comes to the technology and the builders, but also the respect to design, the municipality, the future occupant, and the landlord. When the first occupant receives the key in 2019, there's a home that meets the latest needs for comfort, made sustainably and energy efficient, but also comfortable, light, and quiet, and in a fantastic wooded natural surrounding. Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like people are not going to have jobs.
No, it's in the Netherlands. It's a social program. 5 3D printed concrete houses were built. Project is the world's first commercial housing project based on 3D concrete printing. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
So it looks like it's a kind of a social experiment where and like this house right here looks like nothing you would ever imagine from a house that's built from wood. There's no angles. It's rounded edges. You could make it anything you want. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. You can go in and program your own house and build it on.
Right?
You can build it in less than a day. I mean, like if you think about that, you can just keep building your house, just keep printing onto the side of it, and just keep building a house at your disposal. I need a room for like my band equipment, and then build it. I mean, it's a small investment, but overall, I mean,
add-ons would be cheap.
Yeah, add-ons would be super cheap. If it only costs $4,000 for a base house, $650.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just keep adding on to your house, just building every day.
So this fabricated polymer concrete. I mean, I just built a basketball court in my backyard. It cost me $6,000, right, for a concrete slab that you could maybe put a house on. Probably not even strong enough for that. So for the cost of that, I could actually build a polymer house. That's an incredible value.
Get a game room outside. Boom.
Yep.
I can't stand it around you guys. Boom, game room.
Done. I'm printing my own room, and it's gonna be the way I want it, the colors I want it. I'm done with it. Now, I'm printing a door that you can't get in either. I'm gonna put it on there.
This Project Milestone, it looks like they're printing like pieces for it, or what? They like construct the house. They put it all together.
That's what it says. It says they're building 5 houses in the Meerhoven district of Eindhoven.
Mm-hmm.
It's being developed as a sculpture garden. So there they are. There's 5 houses, and if you look at them, they're all different.
Yeah, they're weird looking.
Yeah, something you'd see like in a futuristic alien movie. You expect
cartoon alien movie.
Yeah. So no, that's interesting. I mean, it looks like they're clearly trying to see what building this kind of community can do. I mean, the aesthetics alone, kind of natural environment, blends in with the earth. Wonder how environmental friendly these are. I mean, if that could be a catch as well.
Yeah, that could be a caveat. And the time degradation too. Like, do they last like 60 years? Do they last like 6 months? Like, You get a heavy rainstorm, do they just get blown over and
Yeah. Well, it's
completely,
concrete.
Yeah,
That's what they're
it's-
saying.
Oh wow!
made out
I
of
wonder about
concrete.
insulation then. What about insulation? Because concrete sucks. It's really cold or
Well, they
I
hot.
say
have steel.
why
I
why
think most
3D
of them have
concrete?
like a steel or something inside.
Yeah.
Like a
In
rebar?
America, you have certain code, and I think it requires like a steel beam inside. That's what
They will not take your jobs.
that Texas company was talking about. They have to like do it a certain way. Oh yeah. Once you get large enough, you'll really need some form of steel or some other means to reinforce the concrete. This is what some professor said about the sun economy like buildings.
Well, I mean, so they have you know, what I learned building the basketball court in my backyard was that there's different types of concretes, weights of concrete, but there's also concrete that's mixed with polymer fibers that give it more rigidity and make it very, very strong. So that's probably what I think they're doing here. That's why they probably call it geopolymer concrete, because it's got polymer fibers in it that hold it together.
That's pretty cool.
I wouldn't pretend to know the structural science behind concrete, but
The other thing is the what's this other company that they have the video. I had that YouTube video from that other company. I can't see the name of their company, but anyways, they have to have people come in after and run plumbing and stuff like that. That's going to be like a challenge.
They don't
for some
turn
of this
around the
stuff.
plumbing, I guess.
No.
Well, they already have like
after.
prefabricated housing companies where you can go. It's like having a double wide, but
Or a mobile home, right?
version. Yeah, mobile home. But they have houses that are pre-made on site and then delivered to your. A lot of it has to do with like people that live on a ranch or that kind of thing. They can have their pre-made house, but they have to lay the foundation, the plumbing, and then the house comes. They drop the house on top. We could see it being a lot like this. You're gonna pay $4,000 for your house. You're gonna pay another 10 for them to come out and do your foundation, which is probably a completely separate entity.
Get you something.
Yeah.
Either way, that's a cheap investment. I mean, that's cheaper than a car.
Sure.
You
could have a Ferrari and live in a $14,000 house and be set.
Yeah, seriously, live in a $4,000 like 650 square foot house.
That's right.
With a Ferrari.
Live cheap, eat well. That's someone told me that.
The systems in which they're like doing this are all different though. Between that Icon 3D printed home, the Sun Economy, and that 3D printed house that you looked up, they're all different ways of delivering the same like good. I mean, you look at 3D printed house, it looks like they're printing like pieces of it and then they'll assemble it like mostly after. And then if you look at Sun Economy, they have this weird like crane that pumps it out. I'd have to watch a video for it, but it's like a like little spider crane. And then the Icon company, that's the YouTube video one, they have this mobile like track that they set up. And it looks like they're trying to set it up so that they could run a row of houses like at the spot.
Yeah, but then when does this turn into like track housing, you know, or homeless housing? Like you said, you end up having like a 3D printed homeless ghetto downtown that's full of $4,000 printed shacks that you end up housing people in.
Yeah.
So while it seems like a wonderful social experiment, you wonder how inevitably they'll use the technology to mass house people.
Well, the Icon company, they're doing it in
It'll be like
South Africa, I think.
Yeah. Of each other to sky.
They're going to start in another country and then work their way like back over here. They test it out like in the third world.
Yeah.
Usually what we do. Right? Got bombs over there. Let's find out what happens. So. Live body targets, everything, the whole shebang.
I wonder what the weight is. I wonder like what type of foundation you need for it. I mean, it looks like a pretty basic foundation that they have.
what is this IBM Google beef about?
Yeah, so the quantum computing.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
Well,
I
Google
was reading
said
that
that.
article in my mind. I have no idea what's
Well,
going
do you
on.
know about quantum computing?
No,
Okay, so
I don't even know about computing. My computer. I'm at a loss. What is this?
the
Explain.
way information is like transferred through your like CPU is in zeros and ones, and enough zeros and ones makes a bit, and enough makes a byte, and it all has
So
to be
forth.
broken down and read like individually. But the way quantum computing works is there's like it works on like atoms, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dave. I don't know how much you know about quantum computing, but essentially it can be in 3 different states instead of 2, instead of either magnetically facing like up or down, 1 or 0. It can be like 1, 0, or 2. And so now all of your data is that much more efficient. You're answering a question with like yes, no, and maybe. You know what I'm saying? You're answering so much more information with so much fewer bits.
Well, it's not
like quantum
binary.
bits. Right. It's not a
Binary being
system.
ones and zeros. It's a polynomial type equation. So like you said, it's able to use multiple numbers. Think of the 2D versus 3D. Our computers now are thinking in 2D, and this computer is calculating in 3D.
Yeah.
So
There's a whole nother dimension to it.
Yeah. So it's polynomial, and it's versus
as far as I know,
ones and zeros.
I talked with this guy a while back, and as far as I know, it's not stable enough that we can store data in any more than just the 3 states. But eventually, I think we'll be able to set it to like Dave said, polynomial, like any point in between. But I think
they
right
can
now
do polynomial.
Well,
they can
now.
What's the advantage of a 3rd dimensional piece of information? I don't understand. What do we need 3 dimensions of information for? I don't get it.
Because now you only need one. You only need 1 bit instead of 5 bits of information. Instead of reading like 5 ones and zeros, you just need to read 1 number.
Well, if you know, like a microprocessor is just basically a bunch of lanes of gates that turn on and off. So that's what binary system is in a processor. It's just ones and zeros, on and off, on and off, on and off, and it relegates how basically electrons flow through gates and lanes, on and off, ones and zeros. Whereas this is saying, think of like a freeway, right? And you're either going on the freeway or you're getting off an on ramp. Well, this on ramp gets you off and then takes you to another freeway, which is on a different level. Goes to a totally different place. Multiple exits, multiple lanes, multiple freeways, and you're looking at versus a 2-lane road. And if you want to draw a comparison, it's like that. It's like a complex downtown Dallas versus a 2-lane intersection in a small town in Mexico or whatever. So it's more information that can be processed simultaneously. Therefore, you can have more data come back to you quicker. It's exponential, actually.
Yeah, the data part is like really what, like I said, like ones and zeros are all just in an effort to like equal out to numbers. It's all data, just numbers. So like instead of reading ones and zeros to read 360, you would just have 1 bit that goes in that reads 360. Like your CPU would know that information that much quicker.
Yikes.
And it's an attempt to overcome Moore's law, which is that over a certain amount of time, processing speeds will double. And it's actually finite, because if you look at processor speeds, really 5 gigahertz is the fastest they've really been able to take things, because you can only take silicone that size doing what it does, and because it heats up. It's a matter of heat and heat dissipation and its ability to continue to
so that's why they've never been able to get more than 5 gigahertz on anything. There's not like a 10 gigahertz supercomputer out there pounding things out.
So they need to come up with a different way of calculating besides just ones and zeros, and that's what they've done. Governments want to do this because they want to be able to process an enormous amount of information. You know, who knows what they're doing with it, but the governments want this, and that's where the quantum calculation race is going on right now.
That's where this article comes in.
Yeah, they said that they're using it for God, where was it? They had like some specific utility for cryptography.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you can crack
chemistry simulations in automotive design, which I don't know why you would want quantum computing for automotive.
Well, Google's like fear is that once quantum computing is a thing, there's going to be no way to encrypt data that won't be cracked by quantum computing. They started a long time ago trying to quantum encrypt because it takes fire to fight fire or whatever you want to say. So yeah, this article says that Google made a calculation in 200 seconds that would take 10,000 years with traditional computers, like modern day computers right now. And then IBM stepped in and said that they had miscalculated how long a modern computer would take and said that it would be actually 2.5 days instead.
Either way.
Thought, yeah.
Ridiculous.
Either way,
well,
it's
they
crazy,
say in here, though, they break the calculation down that it's 15 million times, I think. 250 million times. 1.46 million times.
Yeah,
like
that's
times
how wrong they are, is essentially how wrong IBM is saying Google is. Like 150 million% wrong.
That's funny. It's all some like high level quantum computing Twitter beef. Like,
yeah, it's all like slander and stuff.
Yeah, on a macro, highly intelligent level. That's fun. That's crazy.
Yeah,
okay, so yeah, I guess I understand where this is coming from then. Either way, though, I feel even if they get to quantum computing and they're worried that everything can be cracked, I mean, CDs were supposed to be this big, like, non-copying, not supposed to be, was it CD? Was it CDs? I don't know if it was some form of tech device that came out, and they were like, oh, this is the future of protection, and no one will be able to break it, and then they broke it. I think it was CDs and Blu-ray. It was either that or Bluray. One of the two of them was like, it's supposed to be impossible.
HD DVDs and Blu-ray. Same thing with VHS and Laserdisc. There's like forever
I think it was Blu-ray specifically that they were like, they created Blu-ray because they were secure. They couldn't be copied because CDs had been so simplistically copied, and they were like being spammed. Like people were buying discs and then making 10,000 CD copies for their friends, and it was causing problems. And I think Blu-ray's big selling point was they were like really hard to copy, but people just figured it out anyway.
Well, also Blu-ray is a lot like the quantum solution, because Blu-ray it's blue because it's a different spectrum of light, and it enables them to put more data tighter packed onto the disc, and that's why Blu-rays hold more, because that light can actually read tighter compact data. So what they were trying to do was use the same kind of technology but put more information in it and exponentially increase the capacity of a disc, kind of like what quantum computing is trying to do. Is trying to say, okay, well, in the same space of a processor, how can we compute more data? But both have their inherent, when you put tighter packs of information into a smaller space, you get more errors. So if you guys all know, if you scratch a Blu-ray disc, you're hosed, right? So the quantum processors here actually do so much calculation that they have a higher rate of incorrect information come out the other end, because they haven't perfected it.
Well, because of the way the qubits, which is like a quantum computer bit, works, is polynomial. It's in like, there's a degree of error in the state that it's being read because it's quantum. That's why it's really hard to. I don't think any of us. I think
that's what they're doing now. They're trying to minimize So what do you do when you have a processor that's overheating, that's not giving you the right output? What they do is they shut parts of it down. So I think we'll see quantum computing on a half enabled, in order to get a higher yield. When you're building processors, you have a yield rate on the wafer, and the higher yield rate usually has to do with shutting down a lot of the parts that are so small that they don't work correctly.
Well, without overclocking, all of our CPUs clock at different speeds. I mean, my default settings for my computer, it automatically upclocks each individual processor that's using like more or less. Each core gets clocked at a different speed depending on how much it's doing itself. And I think with quantum computing, and I'm sure they gotta just tweak, the efficiency of it essentially.
I know. They'll start with they'll double the amount of processing, and then it's Moore's law. It'll double every 2 years or whatnot. I forget exactly what that is.
Yeah,
but it'll follow the normal laws of physics, but exponentially to what we saw with microprocessors.
So on the same
double every 2 years.
Same topic of doubling computing power. There was an article that you sent me from the Daily Mail about the ex-Navy officer that invented a 1,500-mile electric car battery. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that's exciting. That's exciting.
Yeah. Nuts.
As an owner of a hybrid vehicle, I have a hybrid Honda Accord, and I love it. It goes 600 miles on a tank of gas. It's amazing, and I'm going to keep it forever because I can't find anything else that can
10
do
gallons.
that.
So this,
so 50 miles per gallon.
Yeah. Oh, you got a 12-gallon tank.
10 or 15 gallons.
Yeah. So what we've never gone full electric, because an electric car gets 300 miles per full charge. You got to charge it for 12 hours, so it's sitting in your garage. So that's a game changer.
Once we can drive across the country on one charge, then there won't be a complaint from anyone.
What it is, though, is it's a fuel cell that uses aluminum air fuel cell. Well, aluminum air fuel basically is what it is. But it's safe enough to drink. Apparently, the guy in the article says he's poured multiple glasses of it for himself in front of people, which I don't know. Maybe in the long run he might not be around. But long story short is it's basically you burn up the fuel cell, and then you go to a gas station and you get another one, and then you run for 1,500 more miles. But it's an electric engine, so you don't use any fossil fuels, and then the aluminum air fuel basically just burns away and it's done. So it's actually, in essence, it's like 4 or 5 times the traveling distance of a Tesla without the heavy, dangerously disposable lithium ion batteries. So it's actually pretty crazy. The one question they don't answer, though, is like, and maybe this doesn't make a difference, but I always felt like if the electrical output of the battery to the electrical motor is the difference of how fast the car would go, I would think, right? So, I mean, what do they don't say how many kilowatts or gigawatts or gigawatts or any of the watts that this car puts out. So I wonder if it's like at 1,500 miles, is it only going to go 30 miles an hour?
It's 1.2 gigawatts, and to travel in time.
1.21.
Is it 1.21?
Oh, yeah, 1.21 gigawatts. It's the same amount as a strike of lightning.
I don't know. Well, because they like the Tesla. So on the Tesla Roadster, they talk about the battery power, right? And the battery power on this car is, let's see if I can find this. I should have wrote this down. It's like something like 600 and something kilowatts.
Yeah, in the article for the aluminum air fuel cell, it says that it's about 9 times as much energy as lithium. Weight for weight, it's 9 times as much.
Oh, so then they don't. Okay, so that's where they don't have to explain that.
Yeah, he says 9 times as many kilowatt hours of electricity per kilogram.
Yeah, 200 kilowatt battery. That's what the Tesla Roadster has. 200 kilowatt battery.
So yeah, his is 9 times like lighter, apparently. I mean, almost. It's probably not 9 times lighter, but it's a lot lighter, is what he says in the article. They don't give any weight.
It's significantly cheaper too, he said.
Well, it's made out of aluminum too, so you want to talk about your
recycling
carbon footprint? Yeah, it's the most abundant. It's the most abundant metal on the planet.
Yeah, it says that.
Yeah. So it's easily found. It's easily recycled, and if you can drink the innards then he's really. It could be the solution to all of our ills as far as the environmental effects, because even that article was talking about it's powerful enough to do trucks, buses. If you could turn our distribution industry into electric, that could save the planet. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm not sure how.
It's wildly crazy.
What the length of if you run it for let's say 10,000 miles, is do you have to recycle and get a new battery?
Sure.
Yeah, it's every 1,500 miles you have to recycle the battery. The engine. Oh,
okay. You need to buy a battery every time.
Entity. Yeah. So
every 1,500. Whoa! It doesn't recharge.
No, it's exhausted. You exhaust it and you get a new one. But what he said is the original engine, they used clean aluminum air sails, and it was really crude and poisonous, and so, or what do they call it, caustic, I guess. But they found another way to refine it, and they actually were saying they could, in theory, use cans. You can melt cans down and use cans as fuel, which is interesting because cans are freaking everywhere. They're all over the place. Everything's in cans. So you could just keep recycling the cans out, and it keeps redoing the fuel cells, and you get 1,500 miles per fuel cell, which is like a tank of gas. And then your electrical engine will last they'll last forever. They'll never.
Yeah, this says that the price per mile for the aluminum air power is about a third as much as gas comes in. But this is, again, in the UK. I'm not sure what the gas prices are.
Well, it's so new. And I mean, think about it. It actually really would work for semi-trucks, distribution, because what is electric engines? What are they good at? They're good at low-end torque. That's where their strength is. Not in the high cruising speed, but the low-end torque. They could pull, thousands. They said the new Ford F-150 electric can pull like a space shuttle. It's ridiculous. So it really fits. And yeah, you're right. It is a fuel cell, not a battery. Good call.
We've seen some vehicles. What was it? The Porsche?
Yeah, so that was the
aircraft carrier?
That was the other, the Taycan, Porsche Taycan, which is fully electric, which is basically like the other article that you posted about the Tesla Roadster. So they went after the Tesla Roadster like heavy duty, and Porsche beat them to the punch on, I guess, being the first to market for an electric mass-produced supercar, if you want to call them a supercar. But on this particular Tesla Roadster, they're looking at like a 0 to 60 at 1.9 seconds and speeds over 250 miles an hour, which is actually significantly faster than the Taycan. But the differentiation between the two is that the Taycan has and they don't say this, Tesla, Taycan has a cooling system that allows for the electric battery to continue to go from 0 to full blast to 0 again multiple times, because electric batteries do degrade. Lithium ion batteries do degrade, which with that fuel cell, I wonder if, it would just be the engine that would be taking the wear and tear. Blow the fuel cell out, and you're just on to the next fuel cell. And that sky's the limit. Tesla said in the interview that they had when they released this car to the public, where they're letting people know it's coming, that the 250 mile per hour mark is a governed speed. It actually could get in excess of up to 300 plus.
Yeah, limited.
It's unlimited.
Yeah, blow your tires right off their rims. You just
yeah, they go careening into your coffin abyss.
I don't think there's a single road in the world that's a street road that can handle 300 miles. Well, actually, there is. Hennessy tested. They're out in in a desert somewhere. They had blocked off some road. What was it? The Venom? No, maybe the Venom. They got up to like 260 miles an hour.
Can't handle the speed of the car.
There's no roads where you would ever be able to get up to that are safe.
Oh, yeah, straight.
At 250 miles per hour, there's not a lot of there's way too much that could go wrong. Essentially, the grade of each, incline and decline would murder anybody going 300 miles an hour. Even the Autobahn's limited to, I think it's a 10-degree grade or something.
But think about this guy created this wonderful thing, and it's very exciting. You think the oil companies are going to have anything to do with this? Yeah, they're gonna find this poor man compromised at some level. And what's sad about that is you think about it. What would you do with him? You can see him holding the cell right here. Right? It looks like kind of looks like a power supply for a computer. It's about the size of it, and
Yeah.
you could get that sent to your house in the using the
Amazon.
interweb, right? Yeah, straight to your house. You can get a case of these. It'll last you 3 months, and you never have to go to a gas station ever again. Well, what would that do to the oil companies, our society, our economy? So it's interesting to think. Like this guy may have revolutionized electric vehicles, but he may have also painted a red dot right there on himself. And
Yeah.
hopefully, hopefully he does well. I actually
Between
I'm rooting
cheap
for this guy.
electric cars and like almost free houses, we're gonna be, whew, in a whole new world.
No, and you know
Let's-
the cynic in me says something's going to happen, but you know I'm worried. I'm burying it. I'm worried about people. You know, not necessarily. You know, this guy's he's gonna do well. I hope he does well. What does he say? He's a
Father of
father
eight.
of 8. Yeah, so
He's
you know,
already been doing well.
yeah. So I hope that the oil companies see something like this and they invest in it and they support him and they help to change for the environmental safety of all of us instead of another lobby and another block and another ruining of something potential because of profit. That would be
Yeah,
terrible.
I mean that's
Yeah.
like vaping as opposed to cigarettes. Tobacco companies, you know, like
Right?
why not invest in it? Why not be like, you have so much money, why not lead the charge in it? You know, I mean, why doesn't Ford just go, you know what, like, why don't we just snap that up and just make it for everybody, and then all of the money is ours, even if
Yeah,
it's
they say
not
in
like
the
a big
article it's
margin.
only a matter of time
Hey, that's
before
a good point.
the other
Yeah.
big automotive companies find this, because it's top secret, the chemical compound for the aluminum fuel. So once
Yeah.
they figure that out, then everyone's going to be jumping all over this bandwagon. But it's got to be
Could they?
genuinely it has to be accepted in mass for it to be successful. 'Cause otherwise, the oil companies, like you said, will just shut it down. It'll never blossom outside of a pipe dream. I mean, you'll have a couple of niche cars where they're like,
Like the
like
hydrogen
Tesla.
fuel cells.
Yeah, they'll build their
Yeah.
own fuel
Good.
cells, but there'll be a dime a dozen. There won't be a lot of them. Not a dime a dozen. There'll be very few and far between.
I don't know if you can drink the hydrogen fuel cells. This guy's like, yeah, I drank it.
Yeah, he
thought
says
Yeah.
it's like
No, well,
boardrooms. He says he's been drinking.
you can drink the exhaust from a hydrogen fuel cell car because all it is water.
it was water. Yeah, it was water.
Yeah.
Yep. So it turns into water. But you look how short lived that was. So if you're an oil company, what you do is you buy the technology and then you bury it, right? Wouldn't that be the way to get
Yeah,
it
you
done?
buy the patents out.
Yep. You buy it, you own it, and then you bury it, and then you continue to burn the world into oblivion. But
Yeah. Well,
That-
on last note, I guess, before we depart here, Macallan, what was this whiskey that you sent? Rare whiskey
Oh.
remains world's best performing luxury asset, which is funny
Yeah.
to us because we traded this brand company.
Well, I'm sure that's not the only rare whiskey that anybody cares about, but I'm sure if you had Pappy, a couple bottles of Pappy, and like in a few years they'd be worth a ton.
Dude, this particular whiskey in the article, the leading lot of the auction, a bottle of 1926 60-year-old Macallan fetched $1.87 million. That's ridiculous.
so why? What's
60 years old.
Well, they're saying, this article is saying really just any rare whiskeys are one of the best performing luxury assets. As in, if you buy an old bottle of whiskey that's pretty rare, and hold on to it, it's going to increase over the years. Prices of rare whiskey increased 25%. I think over a year.
It says the Knight Frank Luxury Investment Index, performance by asset class. Q2 2019 says that rare whiskeys increased 540% over 10 years.
Yeah.
Furniture decreases by 30%, so don't buy any furniture. Wine is 142%. Art's 146. Cars are 190 and coins are 193. I guess so. Yeah, nothing. Even the next 5 things combined almost completely add up the amount of money that rare whiskeys accommodate over years. Even in 12 months. Good Lord.
They don't have houses on there. I wonder if that's not considered like a luxury asset or luxury investment.
Well, houses are dependent upon the market, I would imagine, right? It's
Yeah.
market value, and then you end up paying interest on it anyway. So it's actually not. It's never worth what you pay for it. It's a complete loss. And the 30 years, it's. I mean, I guess you get equity out of it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, art is only 10% or 146%. Yeah, rare whiskey is the way to go. But like, but then you got to get all into like which rare whiskeys, and I bet you if you bought some limited release Japanese whiskey right now, or
Jesus
like,
Christ.
you'd be
Japanese,
swimming.
like Toki. Is that Toki whiskey? Is that?
Yeah,
if they had some like 1,000 bottle like rare release, and you bought that now, 10 years from now, you'd be swimming in money.
So like Centauri actually is a company that merged with Jim Beam, so they've become the experts on Japanese whiskey. So
Yeah.
I think that might be where the next phases come from whiskey, because you have your Irish whiskey,
They're
you
just
have
starting.
your bourbon, yeah. So Japanese whiskey, and Japanese whiskey comes from a different kind of formula. So
and
it's
environment.
interesting.
It's actually
Environmentally friendly.
No, the environment that they it's like it's like scotches
The weather.
in Scotland. It tend to be cold, so it takes a long time to macerate and age. So the whiskeys they have a lot of value because it's a lot of care over a span of time. And Japan's like hit and miss. It's like it's cold sometimes and it's not, and then all the environments all over the place. It's not as high
Epic,
up on
you
the
told
Alps.
me about the whiskey that was aged on ships, right?
Yeah, they do
Because it was exposed to so many different temperatures, you know, that it and the sea air and whatever. Yeah.
Jefferson's voyage.
Well, it allows the cask to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
So you know you have your angel's cut, and you have which is the amount that's left over after the breathable oxygen leaves the cask. So
that smells so good. I love that smell.
Yeah, so if you got your French oak, and then you drive it across the sea to America, and in the meantime it's captured the softness of the oak and the saltiness of the sea, and the cool
the
evenings.
Heat expands it, and the cold like pumps it back in. Yeah, the heat soaks it up into the wood, and then when it gets cold, it like pumps it back, and it just keeps going in and out of the wood.
Put our barrels on a ship and make it go across the country or across the world a couple times.
We need to buy some Japanese barrels and do that.
Are there Japanese barrels? I wonder, because it's oak. Does it? I don't know if there's oak in Japan. It's a good question.
I don't know. Actually, that is a good.
Yeah.
I think I came up with a stumper.
And so the wormhole opens.
Yeah, this guy.
I don't know what they barrel in.
No,
I don't know. I know it's a stringent process. It's extremely like strenuous. And
Japanese oak.
That's why they're so freaking expensive.
Is it Japanese oak?
Mizunara is the name of the wood.
Well, they're trying to recreate it in the style of a Scotch whiskey, and then
it's more porous than American or European oak.
So even better to ship across the seas while it matures.
They have to be 200 years old, the trees, in order for them to make a barrel out of them.
Wow.
They make 130 barrels per year.
Oh, wow. See, that can't be where all Japanese whiskey comes from, because that's not enough. That's not enough barrels.
Well, probably not all of them. I'm sure you have like different stuff. But yeah, so if you buy Japanese whiskey right now, I bet you're in a sweet market 10 years from now to sell that stuff back off.
140% of your investment comes back.
Yeah.
So did you by chance have something for the final rant?
You know what? Kind of. I had a few things, but I was going to talk about trunk or treats. These like trunk or treating events. Have you heard? Do you guys have that?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Usually a lot of times it happens at your local church. Where they'll have people in the parking lot, and you pop your trunk and they go trunk to trunk to trunk.
I just started hearing about this, and
going on for years.
Yeah, but I just started noticing that these trunk or treats are going on, and I don't know I don't think I'm a fan at all. I just don't understand what it's all about.
Is it the idea that children are galvanized by going door to door, risking their lives for chocolate bars with razor blades inside? Is that?
Yeah, I just, I used to go around the
neighborhood. If I was going to put razor
neighborhood.
blades in my chocolate bars, I'd put them at a trunk or treat. 'cause
At
you
a
get
trunk
more
or
bang for the
treat.
buck. You're
Exactly.
more razor
Nice.
blades per candy bar percentage and chance of to split faces than.
Well, you got to think a
door-to-door.
trunk or treat is how many people? How many people
Right.
show up to one of these things?
And
Like,
this is a trusted group. You trust these
It's
people. Good call.
guaranteed.
Are they
candy.
trusted? I couldn't just
Guaranteed.
pull up with my own trunk of
Well, usually
razor blade candy.
it's a group, and that's why I said churches, because usually the trunk or treats are, let's say, churches, or maybe the VFW
School.
holds one, or a school. It's a group of people that probably know and trust each other very well. And if you have a
You
have a
pull
bad
up, they're like,
seed in that group,
who the hell is this guy?
yeah, and they might know, Mr. Whittle. He's been a really wonderful guy in the community, but you don't know what kind of thing
Candy he's
been
bringing?
doing. Yeah, you don't know. I mean,
So
I don't know.
there's it completely derailing the situation of candy because it's not about candy, but there's a Canadian serial killer that they called him the Pig Man, I think, or something like that, and he killed like somewhere in the ballpark of like 70 hookers or something over the span of this crazy amount
Oh
of time.
yeah.
But his pig farm was notorious for hosting parties for, one, the Hells Angels, and two, like high level officials in Canada at Ontario or whatever they were outside of, and he had been reportedly documented as saying that he had fed human flesh to the people, telling them that it was barbecued pig, but he was giving them human flesh. So you can never really trust anybody out there, especially trunk or treat parents.
it's your
You never
next
know
trunk
when
or
they're-
treat would decline
Yeah.
all barbecue.
Yeah, barbecue is not good. Don't take any hamburgers because it could be your fucking friend's stomach.
This is
We
delicious.
gotta find that
Mr.
story
Whittle.
for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were so many layers I wanted to unpack.
Yeah, he said Canadian barbecue and trunk or treat don't go together, and that's
No.
that's a mouthful.
It is definitely. So on that note, I think we'll wrap it up and call it.
Yeah,
kind
you
of
got
a half
parties
hour.
to go to.
Next
and
week.
whatnot.
I'll get the new Florida segment. I got to get an article to catch you up to speed. What it basically is we find things in New Mexico, because New Mexico and Albuquerque in general is basically Florida. We're a city within the boundaries of New Mexico, but we're part of Florida as far as I'm concerned, because everything that goes on here is just
insane.
as nutty and crazy. It's
Yeah.
insane. I mean, we just have ludicrous stuff. So next week we'll have to get an article for that. We'll find something.
Maybe
every Monday morning I wake up, there's always something that went on over the weekend. Let it be
maybe
old
I'll
lady
reach out
shooting
to
students
Mike.
or something like
I'll reach out to Mike and we'll get like an article to compare. One of our Florida friends, so that we can kind of see like how Florida and like New Florida are pairing up.
Is that we're New Florida now?
Yeah, you're New
Yeah.
Florida.
Florida.
Right.
Florida.
I have a unique perspective on that because I happen to have all of my indigenous relatives are from Florida, and
Oh,
So
it's
they're-
your thing. You got to do it now.
I definitely should explore that. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Next weekend, we'll do that. And I think,
The
do we have any articles?
Florida
we
New
missed?
Mexico connection. Yeah.
I think we'll talk more about Call of Duty too. Kind of get back into
Yeah.
some gaming stuff.
Well, I want to let everybody know though, Call of Duty is it's a great game. It's very well optimized. It looks great. We've had a lot of fun with it. So
It's pretty good. I'm a big fan. This is my first Call of Duty on PC, so
yeah, and crossplay is a killer feature. I mean, that's a game changer. It is.
well, let's cut it here, and we'll be back next Saturday sometime.